Well, I would get ready for the Great Deception. It looks like they are about to roll this whole thing out. All the signs are there. And the Trump administration has said they're about to drop this information here very soon out of Trump's mouth himself. And this will be, without a doubt, deception at the highest level. And I would get ready right now. They're saying religious leaders were pulled into a meeting. And the guy that you see here on the screen is Perry Stone. He was one of them. He's an evangelist from Tennessee. Apparently, a half a dozen of these pastors were handpicked by the government. And they were told in this little meeting what's about to happen. And the reason that they were told is because people are going to turn to them for answers. It seems the government is giving them the information that they want to give to the people. They are warning, per Perry Stone, that this is going to rock the faith. And that when they come out and they tell people that another life form is here, that people are going to lose faith in Christianity and in Jesus, and that the whole story of us being the only ones out there and the creation story, it's going to be labeled a myth. It's going to destroy all types of religion, and it's going to shatter the reality of a lot of people out there. People are going to be looking for answers, and wouldn't you know, the government has already gone to these pastors and given them a script, told them what to say, how to prepare these people. The government has even gone to the extent of describing to them in this meeting what these entities look like. And everyone wants to keep saying this is like something out of a sci-fi movie, but it's not. There's multiple leaders here that are saying they were a part of this and admitting this and saying that this is real and that there's a propaganda plan tied into this. Not all these guys are necessarily going along with this, but they're spilling the beans saying, hey, the government just came to us. They're about to make a huge announcement. It's going to rock the foundations of religion and beliefs. And I'm telling you that it's the Great Deception, period, that's mentioned in your Bible, the falling away. To cap this whole thing off, they describe the entities as lizard-looking beings. This is not David Icke. This is not some crazy conspiracy. This is a group of pastors that just got briefed by the government on how to handle the disclosure that's about to go down. We've been waiting for this event for a long time. The great end-time deception. I'm telling you now, Greer has made it clear. In all of his little videos throughout the past few weeks, he has stated one thing repeatedly, that we, humans, are the bad guys in this. Because we are hostile, and we keep shooting down other vehicles, and our weapons are a problem. In Isaiah it says, when a time will come where they gather all the weapons and they turn them into plowshares. There's a...
All right. I want to start off by giving all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak, Wadash. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone for teaching us this truth. And I want to say shalom to the brothers and sisters that are in this truth. Shalom. All right, so, you heard most of this video, how the government called these 501c3 pastors, right, in to deceive the masses, okay? Obviously, we know that this is them, demolishing their old foundation to build a new foundation, right, that new world order. Okay, get everybody in the same mindset, all right? And the only way you can get everybody in the same mindset is if you say there's a outer threat, right? That's how all races will come together, right? And you see this man right here. he's talking about the great deception, but he's not going into scriptures to explain what these so-called UFOs are, right? He's over here talking about plowshares and weaponry and this and that, and that's talking about World War III. And the one that says turn their swords into plowshares, that's talking about the kingdom in Isaiah chapter 2, right? That they should not see war. They should not see war anymore. Okay. So this man's all over the place. He don't know what he's talking about, and it's obvious because he's calling on Christ. He's calling on Jesus. All right. And this is the problem, right? You don't have the answers. Okay. Now, when Esau does come with this blue beam project, all right, only the hopeful elect are going to understand what's going on. Okay. Remember, the scripture says that we are not ignorant to Satan's devices. Okay. So, that's why I titled this UFOs or Chariots of the Lord. All right. Because what the world calls UFOs, the hopeful elect understands those are chariots of the Lord. All right. That are going to be sent. Okay. Specifically to destroy America, right? To take down these heathen nations through World War III. All right. And to save the elect. Right. That's going to be the purpose of these chariots coming back. Okay. But Esau, being that cunning snake that he is, okay, he's going to deceive the masses with that Project Blue Beam. And that's ultimately the Lord deceiving you, because the scripture says the deceiver and the deceived are his. All right. Remember, the Lord is playing both sides. He's choosing. He's picking. He's separated. All right. And this is what it's going to come down to. All right. Very scary things that are coming. All right. But knowledge is going to be the stability of the times. All right. The scriptures and the understanding through the Holy Spirit is what's going to stabilize the men of the Lord that have followed the true gospel. All right. Until these end times. These people here are going to bug out. All right. They're going to see what they're going to see, and they're not going to understand what's going on. All right. But we got the scriptures. We got the breakdowns to understand. All right. What we're dealing with. All right. Through the mercies and through the power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Okay. So let's get into some scriptures. I want to get into some scriptures about these chariots. Right. Because we know that these chariots, which the world calls UFOs, are the chariots of the Lord. Right. Driven. Right. First and foremost, by Yahweh Shai, which is going to be the fathership. And then you're going to have them thousands of angels coming with him. Okay? And the angels are flying them right now. Doing that reconnaissance mission, man. Spying out the land. Okay? As the adversary always does before the takeover. All right? So, let's first go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 1, and we're going to start at verse 4. We're going to get right to the point on these scriptures. For the sake of time, I got to go back to work at 1, but we're going to start at verse 4, right? So Ezekiel chapter 1 and verse 4, it says, this is Ezekiel, right? It says, and I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud. You see that? A great cloud. Okay, so the chariots are called clouds. All right, so the whirlwind. Okay, and what's a whirlwind? It's something that goes in circles, right? It's like a wind that just circles around. So it said, came out of the north a great cloud and a fire enfolding in itself. Right, and everybody have seen sci-fi movies where UFO comes. All right, and you see the fire. Okay, inside, where the engine is at, okay? So, and they fire enfolding in itself, and their brightness was about it. And out of the midst thereof, as the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire. Also, out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures. And this was their appearance, right? And he's describing the angels. And had the likeness of a man. And everyone had 4 faces, and everyone had 4 wings. and their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of calves' foot, and they sparkled like the color of burnished brass. Okay, so remember the dude said that, in the little secret council that they had, which the Lord says is going to frustrate the council, right, of the wicked, that they were lizard people. All right. So continuing on, says verse 6, and everyone had 4 faces, and everyone had 4 wings, and their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of calf's foot. Oh, Salaki, I read that already. So continuing on in verse 8, and they had the hands of a man under their wings. See that? On their 4 sides, and they 4 had their faces and their wings. Their wings were joined one to another. They turned not when they went. They went every one straight forward. Okay, you see that? So they were all, connected. All right, and it's going to show you how these angels in the spirit, these spirits were connected to these vehicles. All right. So when we jump down to verse 15, it says, now, as I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures with his 4 faces. The appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the color of a beryl. All right. Now, real quick, when we look at beryl, right here, we got beryl colors, right? Green beryl, emerald, right? Aquamarine, Maxix. I can't really read these out, but you got red beryl, but you see the colors, right? Now, when you look at the movies that have came out with, UFOs and all that, all right, you would see things like this, you see? And look at what you see with those lights. Okay? See the same thing, right? Color of beryl. Okay? You see, so Ezekiel is explaining the same thing, and it's funny because they got a little gray alien down there, but hey, that's not what's coming, man. All right? What's coming is far greater. Okay? And these people should be scared. All right? But back to the point. You see, so Ezekiel is explaining, right, what you would call a UFO. Okay? Again, look. Beryl, right? Okay? And now you see the colors on this so-called UFO, which is the chariot of the Lord. All right? With the same colors around it. All right? So when we go back to read that again, okay, on verse 16, Ezekiel 1:16, it says, the appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the color of a beryl, and they 4 had one likeness, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle. Salakia. And their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. Salakia. Let me put this before they disturb again. All right. The appearance and their work. Let me read that again. Salakia. Ezekiel 1:16. The appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the color of a beryl, and they 4 had one likeness, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. You see that? And we know that that's exactly what a so-called UFO looks like. And I just showed you the color scheme. Okay? And it says, when they went upon their 4 sides, and they turned not when they went. Right? So these vehicles are able to turn without turning, if you get what I mean. Right? Going forward, they don't have to turn like you would turn a neck, right? Or like you would turn a car, okay? If it had to go in that direction, it'll just go in that direction, okay? It'll stop right there. If it has to go back, boom, it'll go back. If it has to go left, right, up, whatever angle, it doesn't have to turn. It'll just do it on the dime, you see? As for their rings, they were so high that they were dreadful, and their rings were full of eyes round about them four. All right, and those are the windows. Okay, and when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them. You see, and that was the spirit. The spirit was connected to these chariots. And when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. Whithersoever the spirit was to go, they went thither. Was their spirit to go, you see? And the wheels were lifted up over against them, for the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. You see that? Okay? When those went, these went. And when those stood, these stood. And when those were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up over against them. For the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. You see? So these are the angels. Okay? The angels were in sync with the so-called Ufo'S, which is the chariots of the Lord. All right? And this is exactly what Ezekiel saw. Okay? So, and that's the thing. You show a pastor these scriptures, they're not going to understand what's going on. All right? They're going to make some shit up. Right? And even if they do know, they cannot speak about it. Okay? They're under a gag order. All right? That's why there's confusion within confusion. Okay? That man trying to warn the people, but he's not warning them. Okay? Don't go that way. Go this way. You know? There's a lion over there, but go where the grizzly's at. You know? Don't go don't go to the crib. You know? So that's what's going on. That's Christianity, man. It's just a bunch of fuckery, a bunch of, stupid ass dogs chasing their own tail. Right? So let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 68 and verse 17. And it reads, the chariots of God are 20,000, right? So the chariots of God, the chariots of Yahweh are 20,000, even thousands of angels. You see that? Read that again. The chariots of Yahweh are 20,000, even thousands of angels. The Lord is among them, as in Sinai, in the holy place. Right? Because Yahweh Shai is going to be, right, leading the charge. Okay? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshua is going to be leading the charge. Okay? So we're going to read that one more time. The chariots of Yahweh are 20,000, even thousands of angels. See, and that's the same thing that Ezra, right? Salakia, Ezekiel saw, right? These angels, right, in these chariots. Okay? The Lord is among them, as in Sinai, in the holy place. Okay? And what are they going to come back for? All right? They're going to come back for war, man. All right? Here's what they're doing. Right? Casing out the place. Bringing back information. All right? The angels are messengers, man. They cloaked in the clouds right now watching. Okay? So, these people just don't have it. Okay? That's why the mysteries of the kingdom ain't given to them. Right? But it was given to the elect and to the hopeful elect. Right? Those that make it to the end, man. All right? So let's go to the book of Revelation. Chapter 19, we're going to start at verse 11. Okay? And it says, and I saw heaven opened, and behold, a white horse. All right? And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True. Okay? With the chariots, man. And in righteousness he does judge and make war. All right? See, this is what he's coming for. His eyes were as a flame of fire, right? Revelation chapter 1, verse 14. And on his head were many crowns, right? Because he's coming down to take all these nations, right? The UN, all these other people that are in bed with the UN and NATO and all them, okay? He's coming to take them. He's coming to take them out. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, right? Isaiah 63. And his name is called the Word of Yahweh. Okay, John, the first chapter, right? Genesis chapter 1. Okay, he was here from the beginning, man. Okay, right? And the armies, okay, hey, here it is, the angels, and the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses. Those chariots, you see, that they were just speaking about in Psalm 68 and 17. They were clothed in fine linen, white and clean. You see that? Again, and the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. So you see these they're called chariots, clouds, okay, horses, okay, which horses means power, all right. But the point is that these are the angels, man. The only begotten Son Yahweh Shai, and the angels, right, with Michael leading the charge, are coming back in these vehicles that you call UFOs, right? Okay, to make war, to destroy, right, and to save the elect out of the children of Israel. Okay, so when we go to the book of Isaiah, right, chapter 31 and verse 5, it says what? As birds flying, so will the Lord of hosts defend Jerusalem. See that? As birds flying. Okay? So will the Lord of hosts defend Jerusalem. Defending also, he will deliver it. You see? He will deliver it, and that's going to be the elect. And passing over, he will preserve it. Okay? Giving you a token that we're in spiritual Egypt, because he's going to pass over it again, man, as he did in Egypt. But this time it's only for the elect. Okay? The Pasach, right? Passing over, man. He will preserve it. Right? As birds flying, so will the Lord of hosts defend Jerusalem. Defending also, he will deliver it. And passing over, he will preserve it. All right? So, when all these tokens of what these vehicles are, right? And these people are making shit up, trying to use scriptures that don't apply to it, okay? They don't even believe, all right, that the Lord's vehicles are so-called UFOs, all right? If you tell them that, they're going to say, we're bugging, all right? But what's going to happen when these vehicles do show up, okay? What's going to happen when they uncloak themselves and you see thousands of chariots with a big fathership, as Ezra saw in 2nd Ezra chapter 13, right? That mountain carved that he couldn't see the end of. That's how big it was. Okay? It's like Independence Day. Right? You remember the movie Independence Day. What's gonna happen, man? People are gonna bug out. They're not ready. They're not prepared. Because why? They did not receive the truth. Okay? They were taught fables. These people, one Christian going against another Christian, but they're under the same doctrine. Okay, so what's the difference? Right? You see that your leaders are selling out, deceiving the masses. There's got to be something wrong. You got to wake up, especially Jake. But it's not going to happen. Right? Remember, Isaiah asked for how long, Lord? Right? And the Lord said, until the destruction. Okay, so these people's ears and eyes are going to be shut until the destruction. All right? So let's close it out with second book of Thessalonians chapter 2. Start at verse 7. All right, it says, for the mystery of iniquity does already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. Right, and this is Esau, right? The Lord is allowing him to do what he's doing, okay, until it's time. And then shall that wicked be revealed, okay? Which is who? The so-called white man. Right? Starting with these bankers, right? The elite families, whom the Lord should consume with the spirit of his mouth. And that's what's going on right now. The prophets are bringing out this truth, this testimony, exposing the lies, exposing who Esau is. Okay? And this is how his infrastructure is crumbling. And shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. And that's talking about the chariot. When the Lord comes back in that chariot, man. Okay? He's going to destroy them. Okay? Because this technology is not of this world. All right? It's from the heavenly realm. Verse 9. Even him whose coming is after the workings of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders. Right? And Project Bluebeam is a lying wonder. Okay? And that's the workings of Satan. Those are the devices of Satan. The word devil means to deceive, a man that deceives. Okay? There's no bigger devil on the planet Earth than Esau Edom, the so-called white man. Right? It says, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness, and them that perish, right? You damn Christians and you non-believers, because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved, right? That these are chariots, that the name of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is the true name of the Lord and the only begotten Son, right? Okay, that not everybody's going to be saved, only the elect of Israel. Okay, that the so-called white man is Esau, Edom, right? Okay, well, the majority, we got people that look like the so-called white man, but I'm saying we say that because that's who's their progenitor, right? Before the great mingling, okay? But you guys don't believe we have enemies. You don't believe in the doctrine. You don't believe in the truth, okay? So it says what? Because they receive not the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this cause, Yahweh shall send them strong delusion, that they should believe a lie. You see that? And now, you're going to even drop Christianity when you see this Blue Beam Project, okay? With so-called aliens coming and this and that, right? It says that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness, right? And damnation is coming, your destruction, right? You see? And then when the real chariots show up with Yahweh Shai, right? The Messiah, right? And the angels, okay? You see, it's going to be too late, because you rejected the truth. You rejected the man that's coming, right? You rejected Yahweh Shai, the one that's coming in that fathership. You see? You have pleasure in unrighteousness. That's why you're still in these churches. That's why you love the ways of these churches, because they allow you to live in that sinful pleasure, okay? But unbeknownst to you, the truth is stranger than fiction, as they say, okay? And you're not prepared for the things that are coming, all right? So again, are these Ufo'S or chariots of the Lord, right? Do you believe in these scriptures, or do you believe in the fables that were taught to you, right, in these corrupt churches? So, Lord willing, this was edifying. And with that, we're going to give Salakia. I'm going to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakak Wadash. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone for teaching us this truth. And I want to say shalom to the brothers and sisters that are in this truth. Shalom. Abba Abba. Kwam Yasharala. Shalom.